What's up, everybody? Welcome to iOS 3 Raw TV. Let's fix this fucking camera. I'm gonna make that shit square. Not even square. That's better lighting there. Yeah, that'll work. So, today we're gonna talk about, you see the title, it's called balance. Now, for me, I've noticed the longer you live, you'll notice that life is not straight up or straight down. Kind of zigzags. You'll have good times, bad times. There'll be good years, bad years. When you add it all up, there's a balance. You've had a certain amount of good years, certain amount of bad years, certain amount of in-between years where they weren't really good or bad, stuff like that. But I think that when you start out, you really start not knowing what balance is, because we're programmed to think about the future, right? We're programmed when we get out of school, even when we're in school, get good grades. Why? So when you get out of school, you can go to a good college, do well there. Why? Because when you get out, like, everything is geared towards the next step, and then all of a sudden you're out of college. So then it becomes, well, what do? You get a job, okay, that's, yeah, or it goes from job to career. Then you buy a house. Like, everything is towards, excuse me, everything is going from, one thing that you're doing today, it's for the future, right? And I think that's the mindset that most of us grow up in. And that's the mindset that I grew up in. But my thing was, even though everybody around me was telling me that, I was still living in the present. I was living only in the present, which is also not a good way to be. It's not good to live only in the future. It's not good to only live the present, too. You have to have a concept of the future, but be able to soak up everything that's going on now, because now is going to become the past. You don't have any regrets based on, your future, what happened in the past, because now you didn't take action. So I was that kid who was kind of always living in the now. Like, I wasn't worried about my grades for the future, because right now I was in class, and right now I wanted to be funny. So I did stuff, and I goofed off, and I did funny things. Like when I got to high school, it was more of the same. It was, well, college is coming up, but right now I'm in class. So I don't want to be in class, I want to go to gym class. Everything revolved around the now. And that can get you in trouble too, because I took that into my early adulthood, my early 20s, mid 20s, and it was all about now. So it was the partying, the wasting of tons of money, spending money on drugs, which was just like, when I think about it, I'm ill. The amount of money that I spent on drugs in like 21, 22, 23, 24, those years. And it's only the now, right? I maxed out credit cards. I did all kinds of shit that was just like, I'll worry about paying it later because I'm going to live in the now, right? But then I learned that lesson, that shit, I need to worry about the future. So what happens, me being me, like, I'm not a kind of balanced guy by nature. I'm all or nothing, right? I'm fucking 100% one direction, 100% in the other direction. I'm not usually a moderate kind of, balanced guy. So then I go towards living only in the future. Like, what happens when I'm 60? What happens when I'm 70? What happens when I'm 55? I need to pay attention. And I would realize I was so living in the future that I wasn't living in the now, which was fucking me up even worse, because I literally wasn't enjoying my life. I wasn't enjoying what was going on around me at all at any point in time. But I was so worried about what was going to happen 20 years from now. I might not even be here 20 years from now. 60 years from now, I might not even be here 60 years from now. We all might not be here for 60 years from now. So now you step back and I said, fuck, what is the answer to this? Because I can't live in only the present, and I can't live in the future. Like, I can't do that. Like, neither one of these are healthy. It's not good in any way, shape, or form. So now at 44, I've been trying to figure that stuff out. Like, what do you do? So what I've kind of was working for me now, and I don't know if this is going to work forever. I don't know if I'm going to have to revamp and reassess and stuff like that, is I try really hard to live in the now with a consciousness of the future, and not 60 years from now future. Well, that would put me at like 104, but not 30 years from now in the future. In the future, like next month. In the future, like next summer. Right? In the future, like maybe next Christmas. So in the future, maybe like a year at a time, right? Be aware of what's going on a year at a time rather than 30 years, because you're going to have ups and downs, right? There are going to be people in and out of your life. Money's going to come and go. I think about it like this. Like, I grew up very poor, and then finances kind of stabilized. Then they jumped up to a really good bit that I was doing really well, right? And then I started living all in the now, not paying attention to my future. And living in the now led me to a heroin addiction. I fucking lost everything. Everything that I had was fucking gone. And then I was like fucking dirt poor again. bottom line, I was dirt poor and struggling again for a number of years until I started to kind of keep doing what my talents were and what I was doing true to myself, which was the bodybuilding thing, the social media thing, the YouTube thing, these things. I was true to myself, and then financial stuff came back with that. But with that came lessons too, because now it was like, now you have everything that you could ever want. You just go out and buy it right now. But that didn't help when my dad died. That didn't help while my mom's sick. So those things for instant gratification right now didn't help because my dad had passed away. My mom will be passing away. So you're looking at it going, okay, fuck it, that's not balance. Like, that's trying to hoard objects and items. Well, where the fuck is this balance? And then I realized it's not a things balance. It's not how many things you can acquire in such a short period of time. It's not the Lambos that people drive in the house, all that bullshit. You know, because those things also could be temporary in the now for them. Like, they may be balling out of control right now. 6 years from now, dirt poor again. Like, life has a way of balancing itself out. Even if you don't want to balance, it balances you out. The universe somehow balances your shit out. It won't let you get too high or too low. We see this shit all the time. We see people like Johnny Depp, right? He's this famous dude on the cover of GQ. He's a fucking cologne model. He's been fucking, you know, all these amazing blockbuster movies. He had so much money. He bought an island. He's fucking broke. Like, he's not in any movies. Nobody gives a shit about him anymore. You know what I mean? Like, his life went fucking really high only to lose it all. We saw Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's fighting back up. What I mean by that is, you know, he was a young kid, poor, became a world champion boxer, became rich, became famous, lost it all, centered himself, and realized that nothing is forever. And instead of giving up, fought back, and now he has like a comedy tour, and he's like investing in businesses, stuff that he could have never done before without that wisdom, that experience that he was getting while he was going through those bad times. So it's like, there's always going to be a balance. So my thing is like, look, in high school, I was asked to get a senior quote, and I fucked off. I was too busy fucking chasing girls and doing dumb shit in high school. And I picked one that people had, you know, let's say somebody had 10 quotes. They'd use one and they'd give the other 9 to the teacher. So the teacher had this box of quotes written on little pieces of paper. I just stuck my hand, picked one out. I said, this is my quote. And that quote was, nothing very good or very bad lasts very long. That couldn't have been a more appropriate thing for me to pick. Because to this day, I remember it super clear. It was my senior quote, and I've kind of lived by it my whole life. No matter how bad it gets, there's going to be an upswing. No matter how great it is, there's going to be a downswing. It just happens every time. When you think you're at your pinnacle, you're so happy, like, you're like, oh, I love my fucking wife. She's the fucking best. Or she's a goddess. She's this. My life is fucking awesome. And you're like really pumped about it. You get into a huge fucking fight with your wife. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, I was just thinking how amazing she is. Now she's tearing me up because I didn't take the fucking trash out or do the dishes or whatever the case may be. What the fuck? Life will balance your ass out. Now, in the meantime, for me, balance is living in the now. Okay, what is the now today for me? Okay, today's Monday. Living in the now for me is, I got up, I took Brady out, ate my first meal after I did my emails. I'll go to the gym and train in about 5 minutes or so. I'll get done there. I'll come home. Like, this is my now, living in the now. I'll take Brady for another walk. I'll eat. I'll head out to train my clients. That's my living in the now. For the future, what do I have planned? Well, this weekend, Aaron and I are going to go out to dinner. That's my future, right? In a week or two, it's Christmas, so I'm planning for Christmas. Right after Christmas, I go to see my mom in Rhode Island. I'm planning for that. So I'm planning for my future, but not such a distant future that I can't see it or comprehend it, or I may not even be in it. I know, hopefully with the grace of God, that I'll be here next week. I'll be here to see my mom again. I'll be here, you know, we're talking about going to Mexico, Aaron and I, again in 2020, which is our yearly thing. Like, I'm living in that future, preparing for that future, aware that that future is coming. And even my mom passing away is part of my future. So I'm preparing for that, right? So I'm living now, right? Doing the things I want to do now, and trying not to make them impact my very short-term foreseeable future, meaning a couple months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, right? Meaning I don't go out and spend $80,000 gambling because I'd rather go on 2 trips with Aaron, see my mom again. Like, you're planning for that short-term future, which is not as excessive and not as scary as going with the long-term future, but you still get to live in the now, being aware that the future is there. And if you just take that little step, by the time you catch up to that little step of your future, right, your future will be your present. Then you start planning for the next part of that future. These people, I never understood that plan for the next 50 years. Like, well, I'm going to retire when how the fuck do I know I'm going to retire? I hate sitting around. There's a lot of people now, I got friends that retire. They start a consulting business like 2 weeks later. You know, Aaron's mom, she fucking retired and she's a real estate agent, right? So I'm like, all these people like, oh, plan for your future. What future? Sitting around living off fucking barely any money, waiting to die in your fucking house? Like, that's not a future. Like, a future is living your life day to day till you get to that point that you're at the end of your life. That's your future. Making every day count, being aware of what's happening or coming up in the future, the foreseeable future, but the unforeseeable future, fucking 10 years from now, 20 years from now, why the fuck are you worrying about that? We don't even know what the fuck's gonna happen. Jerry, what about those fucking tattoos? What are you gonna do in the future? Nothing. You think I'm gonna say, wow, I really wanna have tattoos, but when I'm 70, fucking they might look weird. When I'm 70, I'll look like a fucking 70-year-old tattooed motherfucker that had a great time when he was younger. That's it. Somebody who sees the moment and has no regrets. You know, like I look at my tattoos now and I go, I'm cool with them. These are part of who I am. Like I look like myself. I don't regret them. And in the foreseeable future, I'm not going to regret them. I might even get more. In the distant future, will I regret them? Who the fuck knows? Why am I going to worry about what if? What if when I'm 70, I love them and I'm still getting tattooed and I live in a fucking retirement home with Aaron somewhere and we all get fucking tattooed together? What if that? Did you ever think about that? And they go, well, that's highly unlikely. How the fuck do you know? You couldn't have fucking planned out my life or fucking thought about what I was going to do in the last fucking 40 years. You don't live like me. You have no idea. You have no idea what the fuck I'm going to be like. I don't have no idea what you're going to be like. So therefore, I shouldn't put my 2 cents into yours. You shouldn't put your 2 cents into mine. But balance. If you don't have balance, the universe is going to balance you out anyways. But for me, guys, this is a little piece of advice I give you younger guys. Plan for the future, but your foreseeable future. You know, don't plan so far ahead that it gives you anxiety and makes it hard for you to live today. Because you're like, oh, when I'm 70, I might need rent that month when I'm 70. So right now, while I'm 21, I'm not going to spend any money. I'm going to take every fucking dime and store it away. You know, my aunt and uncle, who were a lot older, obviously, in their 70s, were all about preaching that future shit and going to school and doing all that shit. They were all about that my whole life. I went back there when I was about 33 or 34, maybe 35 years old for Christmas to Rhode Island. And my uncle, the one that's been preaching college and fucking white picket fence and family and career, all that shit, said, forget everything I said. He goes, go out, travel, see the world, do the things you want to do now. Because your aunt and I, at our age, we take these medications, we get arthritis, all this. He goes, we're not enjoying ourselves. We went to Aruba, just couldn't even fucking walk around. He goes, I'm hurt, it sucks. You know, like your skin burns. He goes, when you're older, your fucking skin burns even easier. He goes, go out there and fucking live your life, do the things you want to do now. He was giving me wisdom that he had learned, and it wasn't just knowledge he had acquired from when he was a kid and what was pushed on him. He was handing me these nuggets of wisdom to go out there and live my life now. Because I may not make it to their age, first of all, to where I'd need to worry about this, that, and the other thing. But also, I might make it to their age and not be able to do the things I can do now. At least I won't have regrets. Like my uncle's kind of telling me he had regrets. Like he wished they had done traveling and stuff like that when they were younger and could enjoy it and actually soak it up and experience it. And now it's too late. So hopefully you guys are understanding what the fuck I'm saying. If not, that's cool too, because eventually someday you will. AustinTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. AustinTraining.com is a blog. It's the someday you'll figure it out bicep, and we are out.